Coming up on Gameball NFL Endzone, Mike and I break down a wild card weekend. For the first time since Super Bowl 50, the AFC will have someone not named the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl as representing them. Our second segment, going to do some NFL hirings, some NFL firings. What do we think? What do we like? What do we not like so much? And as always, the third segment, the football forecast. Stick around. Mike and I are going to break it all down for you. Coming up next.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
And we're holding down for our brother who's in the West Coast area, Marcus Young G's Jickus. We got your back. He'll be back on the show soon. And we'll be doing the split screen and all that. So let's get to it with the forecast recap of the wild card weekend. With the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans in overtime, with the Houston Texans winning the thriller 22-19. The Patriots fall down to the Tennessee Titans 20-13. Minnesota Vikings once again beat the Saints in the playoffs 26-20 in overtime. Seattle Seahawks defeated the Eagles 17-9. Let's start off with the Texans and the Bills.
Right after watching his alma mater, Clemson Tigers, come back from 16-0 down, Deshaun Watson had to get his Houston Texans over a 16-0 deficit as well. Tell you what, he gives his team a chance to win. He's like the AFC equivalent to Russell Wilson. I mean, as long as you got one of them guys on your team, you have a chance to win, especially in the playoffs. So nice little coming of age for him. Didn't get it done last year. Lost at home to the Colts in the wild card round, but was able to get that rectified. And the Buffalo Bills, whose season started in Week 1 with a 16-0 comeback against the Jets, came back on the Jets and went 17-16 in Week 1, would end by sacrificing a 16-0 lead of their own.
I agree with you there. And also, to make a big difference, J.J. Watt return, and that was the huge difference in that game. I mean, he was the tone setter, he was the playmaker, he had a sack, he had a stop for a loss and all that with his presence. It didn't seem like he didn't lose a step at all. And the Buffalo Bills shot themselves in the foot with offensively missing open players in the passing game. Josh Allen did play a pretty good game, but except for those missed passes to where he had opportunities and they take advantage of them, and especially on the penalties that killed him that was in field goal range to win the game. And also, defense gave up too many big plays. They had Deshaun Watson dead to rights on that sack, then wrap him up good enough and just let him make free. And Deshaun Watson, give him credit. He made the play that he needed to make to get his team to win in the field goal range. His demeanor, his hungriness, and DeAndre Hopkins is on another level as of lately. Mm-hmm. He's been balling, and him.
With no Will Fuller, he has to.
Yeah, and him and Deshaun Watson, that's a good trio to go. And the running game's coming along. The offensive lines play a little bit better. There's still some issues, but they got a big game coming up this week in Kansas City, so they need to correct Other than all, good win for the Houston Texans. Now,
I mean, the Bills, they managed their timeouts great in that second half there, and they needed them too. But they had the ball kind of just outside the 20-yard line, down 19-16. I mean, with a shade over 2 minutes to go. I understand they got the ball back, was able to kick a field goal, force overtime. But they that third and fourth down plays by Josh Allen there, where they lost like 30, 35 yards on the two plays combined. You know, they play their cards right. They may get a touchdown there. They may be going to win the game, possibly 23-19. So, I don't know. That was a very, 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 very costly back-to-back errors right there. But they were fortunate enough to get the football back and get it to overtime. Just couldn't get it done.
All right, next score. The Patriots, Titans, with Titans beating the Patriots 20-13. Break it down.
I had a sneaky feeling the Titans would win. I couldn't pick them to win because it's the Patriots, it's the Wicked Witch, it's all those other Wizard of Oz references you want to make, and other horror flicks you want to. So I didn't want to be the guy that picked against the Patriots and have to eat crow once again. I've bet against the Patriots several times before in the past. Picked them to lose to the Chiefs in last year's AFC Championship, and just had to pick them. Had to see them get beat to believe it. I'm curious to know. I understand why they let Antonio Brown walk. He was too much of a circus, too much of a sideshow. Still not sure how they couldn't make things work out with Josh Gordon, though. I understand that he ultimately got suspended by the league for PEDs and whatever else there. But I just think that somehow, some way, they could have got one of the two to work out for him long term. They would not only would they be playing this weekend, they probably would have been had a bye.
Yeah. Give credit where credit's due to the Titans. Their defense played outstanding, especially at the end. They made that pick six to score a touchdown. And that running game by Derrick Henry, he was just running wild all over him. And turns out that hamstring didn't hurt him after all. And they're going to need that going to Baltimore this upcoming week. Then Ryan Tannehill made the key throws that he needed to make. And the goal line stand by the defense was huge, because if that was score a touchdown, that could have been a different momentum changer. So give credit where credit's due to the Titans. They came, they saw, and they made the plays they need to be made.
What are your thoughts on Mike Vrabel taking the delay of games and ultimately running them, I think, a minute 46 of time off of there? Former Patriot.
Well, you gotta. I don't have a problem with it. You gotta play your cards right. If you want to take penalties to run out the clock, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I didn't like the decision, because what if the Patriots take the lead there and you need that minute 40 and change, in your pocket to retake the lead? I thought it was a risky move myself. I mean, I think it's great he understands the rule book like that and dug so deep and put his foot down and actually executed the decision to milk off just short of 2 minutes. But that could have been costly for him had they allowed a score.
Yeah, for the Patriots, it's tough. It was tough to watch as well. Offensively this year, it just after week 1 or 4, something like that, it's starting to show decline. Then not Tom Brady, just the offense. Without Antonio Brown, of course, due to this situation, then you have Josh Gordon. You can't really put it all on Tom Brady. Rob Gronkowski didn't retire. There was banged up players. When you lose a fullback for this season, it was just all over. It was just one of those years that the offense did explode, but they're going to move forward and they'll learn from their rebuilding. Now, the question that's been going on lately, what's Tom Brady going to do? Is the dynasty dead? This and that, whatever. And let's just see what happens. If Tom Brady resigns, they're going to come back and with a sour taste in their mouth, because you don't want to end your New England career with a pick six. That stings. Mm-hmm. And a lot of if they get the players back they need to get some additional help to go along with N'Keal Harry, who had an up and down rookie year because he also dealt with injuries. He was forced to throw to the Wolves, and Philip Dorsett, and it's not the guy for the offense. So if you can get few pieces and parts for that key offense to help out Tom Brady, then it'll be a different story. I would like to see him go back to that double tight end set once upon a time ago with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, and before he went to that situation where we're not going to talk about that. So kudos to the Titans and the Patriots slogan, we're on to the 2020 season. All right, next score. The Vikings beat the Saints 26-20 overtime win. Break it down.
The Minnesota Vikings, they might be one of the most dangerous 6 seeds in the history of NFL right there. Didn't have a regular season matchup with the 49ers, who they got coming up on deck here. 3:35 Central Time kickoff this Saturday at Santa Clara. But they are combined 0-3 against Seattle and Green Bay. So should they pull off yet another upset on the road, they'll be once again on the road in the NFC Championship against a team that they are looking for an upper hand on. But Cousins stepping up in the clutch there for them. I thought they did some things kind of inside the 5-yard line in the second half that they I believe they were down. I can't remember the score exactly at the time. I think it was 10-3. But it was 10-3 Saints, and Vikings had the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Sure, Steelers is playing for a field goal. I believe they were in cook up the middle. Then they went incomplete. They needed a pitch to the outside, lost yards. For the life of me, thought they was going to be getting a tie ball game. But their play calling inside the red zone after that series. They actually get the ball back right before halftime. Much better play calling, punched in for the touchdown. Had the lead at halftime. Then to get they were able to stretch the lead to 20-10. A lot better, much better play calling in the red zone there. As far as the Saints go, they seem to have been playing for the second or third year in a row. They seem to be playing their best football in December, which is great. You want to be playing your best ball then, unless you can play your best football in January, and they just haven't been able to transcend December, success into January.
Credit to the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins got his money's worth.
Yeah, that defense is really good too. They haven't been getting their props all year, I don't think.
Oh yeah. That's why I said credit to the Vikings for shutting down the hottest offense in the NFL, holding to 20 points. Not a lot of teams can do that, and going to that dome, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. So kudos to the Vikings for getting the job done and going in there and competing. And Cousins to Kyle Rudolph for that touchdown. Should have been offensive pass interference and stuff like that. It was a good no call. So overall, it was just good play calling by the offensive coordinator of the Vikings, getting them down in a situation. Dalvin Cook was beasting it again.
I'm glad you mentioned the touchdown there, because if that's like a random touchdown with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, we're not talking about that at all. At all.
Yeah. So then you got the defense playing good. It could be better, but they did a good enough job to win the game, so they're on the road.
Yeah, I like their chances this weekend too, because they're not really built to win like 41-40 games, but that's not in the 49er style though either. This is going to be like I think a 17-13, 2017 football game that favors, ironically, both teams.
Yeah. For the Saints, man, this is a tough one to lose at home. They left a lot of plays out there on the field. Defense couldn't get it done.
Missed the field goal before halftime?
Oh, yeah. Offense left a lot of plays, especially that field goal. There were some key moments there that could have been more plays. And credit to Taysom Hill. He is a playmaking machine. Mm-hmm. So it just wasn't a day for Brady. And
Taysom Hill answers the question what it would be like if Jim Thorpe played today.
Good point. And Brady and Breeze couldn't get it done, so hopefully we see a Brady-Breeze Super Bowl before they retire. All right, last one, Seahawks and Philadelphia Eagles, 17-9.
Nothing about that game really surprised me at all. But about a month and a half ago, Seattle went to Philadelphia, won 17-9. So they went back to the same place, won by the same score. Little semi-controversy was Clowney's hit on Wentz. Was it cheap? Was it dirty? Should he have been flagged? I don't particularly think so. Wentz is out of the pocket. He's no longer a quarterback. He's basically a runner, a ball carrier. And Clowney made a hustle play from behind.
Yeah, you gotta play to the whistle blows. So a lot of people speculate it was a dirty hit. A lot of people say, well, but you can only leave it up to the officials to make that call. If that was the call in their opinion, then fine, they made it.
I was blown away by DK Metcalf. He's about to be if he's not a top 10 receiver yet, he's going to be soon.
I was getting ready to say DK Metcalf had an excellent game for a rookie, and he balled out, got the job done. And Russell Wilson,
I thought it was a great call on 3rd and 10 to go the deep ball when Philadelphia had a 0 or no timeouts.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson, man, he's the truth. That's why I said what I said last week. If there were a dangerous team, lower seed team in the playoffs, it would be Seattle. They could go in there and beat anybody. They have one of the best road records in the NFL, 7-1, 8-1, something like that. So,
ironically enough, I think they kind of dodged a bullet by losing to San Francisco in Week 17. If they win that game, they still don't get a week off. They get the Vikings at home, who I think is a much better team than Philadelphia is. And then they would be the 3 seed, assuming they beat the Vikings, which we all know would not be a given. They kind of struggled in them in a Monday night game a few months ago. They would be going to New Orleans as well. So, because New Orleans would have been the 2 seed, Green Bay the 1, San Francisco the 5. So in a roundabout way, losing to San Francisco may have been the best thing that could happen for them in the postseason moving forward.
Yeah.
Just purely based off of matchups.
And offensively, they're clicking at the right time. For the Philadelphia Eagles, losing Carson Wentz was a blow, and they never could recover from that.
I like how you said the offense is clicking. Marshawn Lynch, 2 touchdowns in 2 games.
Exactly.
He's supposed to be a bigger factor in the game plan this weekend at Green Bay as well.
Exactly. Then you have Carson Wentz going down. Then you had that 4th down play with Josh McCown took a critical sack, which I thought he should have just got rid of the ball. Defense gave up too many plays. And this year, it was a plague injury-prone team.
As good as J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney looked this weekend, how could Houston not figure out to keep those two? Because you mentioned Watt, with the first recap there, but Clowney was you talk about a menace. That guy was just unstoppable.
And that's why Seattle got him. And that would do it for the first part of the episode. Coming up on the second part, we're going to talk about the hiring of the coaches and are they a great fit or not. So stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone coming right up. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Segment number 2. We're going to talk about the coaching carousel teams that hired. Let's start off with Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm not really sure it's the splash move the Cowboys were looking for. I do know that it is wanting to get a head coach with a head coaching experience. He does have a Super Bowl championship to his resume. I think it's a lateral move at best from Jason Garrett, though. I don't think it's really a wow hire. It's safe. I mean, he can get 10, 11 wins. Giants and Redskins, they seem to be stuck in the mud. The Eagles, you never know what you're going to get from them year to year. So the division is theirs for the taking, but I don't know if McCarthy's really that guy who can really get them over the hump. Respect to Dak Prescott, he's not Aaron Rodgers, and when you take that element away, it's solid winning percentage. I think only 3 active coaches in the NFL. I know Belichick's one of them. Mike Tomlin's the other. Cannot think of the third offhand, but he's solid winning percentage. Like I said, he'll get him 9, 10, 11 wins. They won't be America's 8 and 18 for much longer, but I don't know what their ceiling is after that, though.
Well, I didn't really like this hire, but
I don't hate it. I mean, I just
Why did you want to take the job with Jerry Jones as the owner? Because when you start to losing, then you start to get on a radio show and all this shenanigans and blah 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 like this. I mean, I respect Mike McCarthy as a head coach, but it didn't end well with the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They haven't been back to the Super Bowl since 2010. That was like a decade ago.
He did get them to some NFC Championship games. They got their drawers blown up by the Falcons, and then they had that semi-collapse against Seattle as well. So they didn't just fall off a cliff. He was getting them close.
Yeah. And then it's just the relation didn't end well. So how will it translate to the Cowboys? I don't know. We'll have to find out and see.
I'd like to see them promote Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
Out there, but
yeah, I would like to see that too. But it's Jerry Jones' team, and he wants what he wants, and he got his fingerprint on that other stuff. So if I'm Mike McCarthy, would you have taken a job with the Dallas Cowboys? That's just me, though. I wouldn't.
Kind of off topic, but since I mentioned Richard a moment ago, one thing that I wouldn't completely rule out, if Seattle is able to win the Super Bowl this year, Pete Carroll would be 68 going on 69. He'd be a 2-time Super Bowl champ. He's got his USC championships. Chris Richard, former Pete Carroll defensive coordinator there. Wouldn't surprise me if Pete steps down and Seattle pulls it off this year and they maybe interview him. Just little foreshadowing on my part.
Yeah. All right. Now, Carolina Panthers hire Matt Rule from the Baylor Bears. Is this a good fit for the Carolina Panthers?
I don't know Matt Rule in particularly very well. I've caught a few of his interviews here and there. He can coach. Temple. That's something. I don't think anyone's mistaken Temple and Baylor for Alabama or Clemson. I mean, these are for him to get those two programs, resurrected the way he did was just great work on his. I don't even think great does it with justice. He fantastic coach. He knows X's and O's. He knows how to lead, knows how to get people to buy in and believe. Thing is, whenever a college coach gets an NFL job, I'm always kind of cautiously optimistic, if you will, kind of a wait and see approach. I think I like him to Carolina more than I like McCarthy to Dallas. I think McCarthy to Carolina would have been a better setup for the two right there. I think if they can get the quarterback situation figured out, if they want to stick with Cam Newton or not, I think McCarthy would have been a great fit there. So, but we'll see there. He's got plenty to work with there. I mean, Carolina's not a bad team by any means. They're not the Bengals. They're not the Dolphins. They're solid.
Yeah, some people. When you're coming from college to the NFL, it doesn't last well. The only coach that did it well is Pete Carroll because he was already in the NFL.
I thought Jimmy Johnson in there too.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson. I forgot about Jimmy Johnson. Those are the only two that can pull it off that did it well. And they both have national championships and Super Bowls. So, but we'll have to find out. See, and offensively, he spreads the ball out. And could this be a fit for Cam Newton going forward offensively? What kind of defensive coordinator is going to come in and coach with him? So we don't know. We'll just have to find out and see. Now, for the talk of the town, the New York Football Giants hired Patriots special team coach and wide receivers coach Joe Judge to be the next head coach over several qualified candidates that could be in that coaching vacancy. Break this down.
I've never heard of Joe Judge before. This is the first time I've heard of his name. I mean, either that he the announcement of the hiring of the guy anyway. I think Eric Bieniemy, when he has the opportunity to get some interviews, I think he's a head coach waiting to happen. I mentioned Rashard earlier; he'd be a great coach just about anywhere else. Before the Giants made the decision official, I actually heard that they were trying to get Jason Garrett in there for an interview. They believe they asked the Cowboys for permission. I can't remember when, but just probably after the Giants season came to a conclusion, I guess, or I guess both two seasons concluded at the same time this year. But they apparently asked the Cowboys for permission to interview Garrett as well. So I don't know if that decision very much or not. But I mean, outside of Garrett, the other guys I mentioned have no head coaching experience. So we'll see.
Well, like you was mentioning before, there are some other coaches out there that are more qualified. What about Rex Ryan? What about
Josh McDaniels? I think could be a better hire.
Oh too. Yeah. What about
Speaking of McDaniels though, and the Belichick coaching tree, I think outside of Bill O'Brien, they've kind of struggled initially. So we'll see how this goes for them.
Right. And there's other qualified coaches that could be in that job that worked their way up the ranks. What about Ravens offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator? What about Greg Williams from the Jets? And I'm gonna say something here. Wasn't the Rooney Rule put in place for other African American coaches to get jobs and possibly get more interviews? And why has not that been put into place? I think this rule is a joke because you see a lot of NFLs go over that rule. Because where is Marvin Lewis? How come his name has been called? He was the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Was it
the last few years didn't work out well? But I think he deserves a job in the call. What about Jim Caldwell? He led to the coach to the Super Bowl after Tony Dungy was let go, and he took the Detroit Lions 2 straight years to the playoffs. What about Chris Bouchard, like you were saying? He's an upcoming coach in the waiting. And Eric Bieniemy is a deserving coach in the waiting to get a job. He was there with the Vikings, groomed Adrian Peterson to a sensational career as a running backs coach, and he was also a position coach there. Then he went over to Kansas City Chiefs with Jamal Charles and the other running backs there. Then
Kareem Hunt, who's actually looking for a coach as well in Cleveland. I think Bieniemy to Cleveland would be. He'll find a way to put Hunt to use. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So perhaps he's holding out for that. Who knows?
What about that? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is a shame to the NFL. It's a spit into the face, and they should be called out for it. This is a bunch of BS, and the NFL knows it. How come this rule was put into place and this rule is not being used properly? So to me, the Rooney Rule is a joke. It's an absolutely joke, and it's not fair to other African American candidates who work their butts off and works in the ranks to get a coaching job. Why does Kim Clisbury have an Arizona Cardinals coaching job? The man did not win above 500 or get into the national championship his college career like Urban Meyer and some other coaches as well. And it's just about who you know, and it's a bunch of favoritism. I'm not taking away anything for anybody else, but I think the NFL should consider that in the matter, and it is very disrespectful to the Rooney Rule. And there's only 3 African American head coaches currently right now in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins head coach, you have Mike Tomlin, and you have Anthony Lynn, who had a down year due to Phillip Rivers and all that other stuff. So where's that going? I would like to see more African American candidates get more opportunities to be a coach in the NFL. Something needs to be done by that. I just want to put that out there. And that will do it for this part of the Gameball NFL Endzone. When we come back, we're going to talk about Divisional Round forecast playoff games. So stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone will return. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, when the football season never ends. Segment number 3 is the divisional round forecast, matchups, and predictions. Starting off with the first game, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Break it down.
Minnesota is going to be about a touchdown underdog to the 49ers. I think they were an 8-point dog to the Saints, though. Niners, they'll get 13 days to recover from what was a very physical Week 17 Sunday night game in Seattle with the NFC West on the line there, and in their case, home field advantage. Got it by about that much, and they'll be taking on a team with outside of Kirk Cousins, that whole Minnesota roster has an ample amount of playoff experience on there. You look at that San Francisco roster, outside of Richard Sherman, who did most of his playoff damage with the Seahawks, not a lot of playoff blood on that roster for him there. So, I think that first quarter could be real interesting. I think that oddly enough, even though they're at home, even though they've had 2 weeks, even though they're a touchdown favorite, I think that if the Niners can win that first quarter, they'll be in the driver's seat moving forward.
It's going to be a battle. Both top 10 defenses in the NFL. And it's going to come down to which offense has more of time possession and less turnovers. Whoever has that will win this game. If Minnesota could do what they did on the road against the Vikings, you can pretty much count them. Their Super Bowl chances are really good. And for the San Francisco 49ers, like you were saying, Richard Sherman is the only playoff experience. We'll get to see Jimmy Garoppolo and all that going on. So it'll be a fun, exciting matchup.
Just want to throw some common opponents out there. Green Bay, they swept the Vikings. San Francisco absolutely destroyed Green Bay in that Sunday night game. The Packers have not lost since. San Francisco split with Seattle, won at Seattle. Minnesota in a Monday night game. Kirk Cousins 0-9 Monday nights. Brought his team back from 34-17 down. I believe they would lose. I think Seattle kicked a field goal near as time expired to get a touchdown lead there. They lost 37-30 there as well. So, both teams did go to New Orleans and win, though, when you count the wild card, from a week ago. So there's variables there that suggest that San Francisco did a little bit better against common opponents than Minnesota did, but that's only a very small tell of the tale.
All right, next one. Tennessee Titans against the Baltimore Ravens. Two teams that love being physical and playing smash mouth football.
Yeah, Tennessee, even though Ryan Tannehill's the starting quarterback for them now, they still have some packages for Marcus Mariota. I mentioned that because this game has 5 Heisman Trophy winners in there. Between the aforementioned Mariota, you got Derrick Henry. Then on the Baltimore side, you got Lamar Jackson. You got his backup, Robert Griffin, who they also have packages for and played pretty well against Pittsburgh as they sat Lamar in Week 17 there. And, of course, Mark Ingram, who's come over from New Orleans to play for him there, though. So 5 Heisman Trophy winners here. Baltimore, the Saturday night game.
And 2 from Alabama.
And 2 from Alabama. And they're getting almost, I think I've seen anywhere between 9.5 and 10.5 points. I think that's way too much. I think Baltimore is the better team. I fully expect them to be playing next week. but I don't think they win by any more than a touchdown. I think they win by less than a touchdown, actually. But Tennessee's got some things. If they can get that, they got to get more than, I think Tannehill had, 71 yards passing against the Patriots. Got to get more out of that. Baltimore, their offense is a little bit different than the Patriots is. They're going to score a little bit more points. They've had essentially 2 weeks off. They pretty much sat the house against Pittsburgh and still won going away. So they'll be rested, healthy, and ready to go. John Harbaugh, Super Bowl 47 champion, so he knows what he's doing there. But there are some matchups that Tennessee can do that are to their advantage, and it all revolves around pretty much Derrick Henry. Got to get into third and short, and they got to convert.
Yeah. That running game took over last week. If you can establish the run, if that offensive line could be very physical, because Derrick Henry is not a small dude. He is a big.
Yeah, but Dion Lewis is, though. I think he can actually, have a bigger say in the grand scheme of things on Tennessee winning.
I'm talking about when you tackle him.
Yes,
he's a big physical dude that can wear you down. Especially in the second half, the Tennessee Titans are the best team in the NFL of wearing people down the second half. So if they can have that same impact like they did a week ago against the Patriots, they have a shot at winning this game.
If they see that Baltimore defense starting to tire in the second half, I go back to Dion Lewis. So he's a guy that can get you outside, get the passing game underneath working for you as well. We all know what Derrick Henry's capable of, but I think Dion Lewis can be a real X factor that really no one's talking about.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown's been a great rookie out of Mississippi. We talked about DK Metcalf in the first segment there. His running mate at Mississippi, A.J. Brown, actually had a better overall regular season.
For the Baltimore Ravens, they have to stop the run. They got to force Tennessee's offense to be one-dimensional. If they can do that, they can win this game. The Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs, round 2.
We got the number 10 and number 12 overall picks from the, I believe, 2017 draft here. Both of them made their playoff debut last year as well. Mahomes, a little bit better luck, had the first round bye, went 1-1, lost in overtime to the Patriots. Deshaun Watson, his overall record is now improved to 1-1, losing the wild card last year and winning this year in overtime against the Bills. Don't know if Will Fuller's going to be active in this game or not. I know he did not play against Buffalo. So until we hear that he's good to go, I'm going to assume that he's not. The first time that they went to Arrowhead in week 6, week 7, whatever it was, they had a big game on the receiving end from a guy named Kiki Kuti, who I don't believe played very much against Buffalo. I'm not really sure what his status is either. So Houston going to be lacking a few pieces on offense. J.J. Watt apparently seems to be back to his old ways, though. He'll be I don't believe he played against Kansas City the first time around.
No, he didn't.
And as far as Kansas City goes, I mean, Pat Mahomes is about the only one who played that game that's playing this game for him as well. Signed Terrell Suggs. They got Hitchens back going for him. Frank Clark did play. He was hurt, I believe, that game. Chris Jones did not play. I think they had 2 or 3 offensive linemen out, including Eric Fisher. So gonna be a whole different cast of characters than the first matchup this time.
Well,
Carlos Hyde did have over 100 yards. You might remember he's cut in the preseason by Kansas City. Mm-hmm. He was a 1,000-yard rusher for him as well, too. So it wasn't like that game was a one-game wonder for him. Him and Deshaun Watson hit with his running ability. They can't control the clock. Can keep the third downs running the ball.
Who's gonna for the Chiefs defense? How can you stop Deshaun Watson? You gotta keep him contained in the pocket. You can't let him break contain the pocket because we all know what he can do. And DeAndre Hopkins is balling, so who's going to match up with him?
I think Buffalo actually laid out a pretty good blueprint on what to do against Deshaun Watson. They just couldn't do it for 4 quarters.
Exactly. And then DeAndre Hopkins, he's balling out of his mind too. So if they can imprint that, then they'll be able to go into the AFC Championship game. And I think this, and also you have to credit the defensive coordinator, Roman Cornell, for making adjustments in the second half. And he also knows the Chiefs very well. Mm-hmm. He was under Andy Reid and all that stuff. So you have to take that into account. All right, Seattle Seahawks versus the Green Bay Packers.
I kind of finished the point about Minnesota and San Francisco with common opponents. You look at common opponents here. Seattle, they split with San Francisco, and they played very well in their 2 opportunities against them. They didn't play very well. They played well enough to win both times. I was lucky to get one. Green Bay just got absolutely pulverized by them as well. They beat they beat the Eagles 2 times over in Philadelphia. Believe the Packers, their first loss of the season came at home to Philadelphia. So, and both teams are combined 3-0 against the Vikings as well. So, you look coupling all that. Seattle is they are an underdog. However, they're the smallest underdog of the weekend though. Texans and Titans, depending on who you look at, getting about 8 to 10 points either way. Vikings sitting right around a touchdown. Seattle sitting at about 3.5 to 4 points. What that's basically telling me is that if the game was a neutral field, it'd be a pick 'em. And if it was in Seattle, Seattle would be getting 3.5 points over Green Bay as well. So when picking this game, it's not really can they cover the spread, it's can they win. You're basically just getting who will win the game outright. Because 3.5, 4 points, I mean, unless, Green Bay kicks a field goal at the gun of a tie game to win or to erase a 1 or 2 point deficit, they're going to probably win by 4 points or more and cover. So Pickens there for Seattle. I think DK Metcalf is a matchup nightmare for anyone. Packers do have a little bit better secondary. Well, they have a lot better secondary than Philadelphia does. Philadelphia is has been banged up in the back end all year. Jair Alexander, what do they do with him? Do they single him up with Metcalf? Do they single him up with Lockett? How do they bring safety help? Bring it from the top, bring it from underneath, but use the linebacker, so on and so forth. Got to spy Russell. Well, I imagine they'll spy Russell Wilson. But there's a lot of challenges there, and from what I understand, Clowney's good to go again.
You also forgot to mention the Green Bay Packers pass rush has also been a nightmare for opposing offenses this year. The Bo Smith boys has been playing out of control, and
Seattle had no answer for London Cox either.
And you also got the running game going with the 2 running backs of the Packers offense. If they can establish the run early and to get the play action pass going with the offense, the player that has to step up is Jimmy Graham. He has been non-existent in who knows. So if he steps up for them, then because we all know Devontae Freeman is going to step up. So what about him? Not Freeman, Adams, excuse me. And for Seattle, can they do what they do like they did last week against the Philadelphia Eagles offensively? Because we know what Russell Wilson is going to bring to the table, but can the other players step up and make plays?
Yeah, Quandre Diggs has been big for Seattle too. He kind of fills that leadership role that was left by Earl Thomas from a year ago. And I can't take credit for this, but somebody compared having him back for the playoffs very similar to that Colts team that beat the Bears when they got Bob Sanders back right in time for the wild card. Went on with the Super Bowl right there. Diggs is huge. Got to stay on the field. Got to make plays.
And defensively, just keep making plays. All right, it's time for our forecast prediction picks. Let's start off with the Vikings and the 49ers.
I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one. 2 weeks in home field. And they're just a really good team. I'm just as guilty as anyone is not giving them their just due. I'm giving San Francisco their due right now. I think they get the job done against Minnesota. They may have to score a little bit more than I think they're anticipating. I think the Vikings could put anywhere between 17 and 24 points on them. Don't know if that'll be enough though. I'm gonna go with the Niners. This is 27 to 20.
I'm gonna say 31-17. San Francisco 49ers gets it done at home. That defense is on another level right now. And I think it's going to be too much for Kirk Cousins to handle. I see a pick 6 waiting to happen. And the 49ers tough running game to go along with that consistency in the passing game with Jimmy Garoppolo. So the 49ers move on to the NFC Championship game at home over the Vikings, 31-17.
San Francisco is going to have to find a way, in my opinion, to get Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel involved in the game as well. There's no way I would imagine that Minnesota lets Kittle beat them.
Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens.
I tell you what, Tennessee, the disrespect is real on this one. I think they're going to go into Tennessee, go into Baltimore. I think they get them all they can handle. I think it'll be a one-score game either way at halftime. I think it'll be a one-score game either way coming to the end of that game as well. But Lamar Jackson, he's set to be the reigning MVP. I think he's going to be the star of stars. Saturday night game, prime time. I mean, the only one that can steal his shine is Derrick Henry. And as good as that Patriot defense was throughout the year, and for Henry to have the game he did against them, don't feel real good about picking against him or Tennessee, but I think to get more out of the quarterback position, then to get just a little bit more done defensively, maybe a timely turnover here or there. Marcus Peters, he's come in there and just fit like an absolute glove. He's got that Raven DNA, if you will, and I think they 34-30. I think some points are scored in this one. I know it's not very characteristic of the Ravens to give up 30 points, but I think that Derrick Henry's going to get that game running. They're aware of the running game coming in. I think they get it going somewhat early. I think it opens some play action for them. They take some shots. They got A.J. Brown, who I mentioned earlier. It's still 34-30 Ravens.
I'm going to have the balls to do this. Upset alert. Remember the Titans. Tennessee Titans goes to the AFC Championship game. It's just what they did to my Patriots and their physical running game dismantled. I'm just going to say it'll be a close game, but I think second half of the season, the Tennessee Titans is number one NFL of wearing opponents down. I just don't see enough for it to happen. It'll be a close game, but Derrick Henry, he is a physical monster. So he is a man beast. I'm going to say the Tennessee Titans gets it done on the road in Baltimore, 24-17. They move on to the AFC Championship game. I know I'm going to eat crow, but after what I saw, I think it might be a wild card Super Bowl, in my opinion. I don't know. All right, Houston, Texas versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think I go with the Chiefs in this one. I know Houston went in there and won earlier in the season this year, and I understand that teams that can go into one place 2 times over and get wins both times. A la Seattle at Philadelphia. I don't. Well, Deshaun Watson gives you a chance. He always gives you a chance. And you look at that Chiefs defense the last month of the season. Looked really good. They didn't play any Deshaun Watsons though. They played an aging Phillip Rivers. They played Derek Carr, who was kind of sketchy at best. Played a rookie in Drew Lock in the snow. But they looked good. They did what they had to do. They had a lot of those teams out of the end zone for the most part. Boy, Deshaun Watson is so good. I hate picking against him. I really do. I'm going to go 27-24 Kansas City on this one.
And this is your Super Bowl pick.
Yes.
And you're going against your Super Bowl pick.
No, I picked Chiefs. I got the Chiefs winning 27-24.
No, I'm talking about earlier part of the season. Your Super Bowl pick was the Texans.
I picked the Texans for Super Bowl last year.
I thought you meant
the Texans were my preseason Super Bowl 53 pick. Chiefs are preseason Super Bowl 54 pick.
Okay.
You're right. These are the last 2 teams I preseason picked to win the Super Bowl. Good call.
Okay.
Good call. Yep. Yeah. That's another thing.
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going with the Houston Texans. I think it's time for Bill O'Brien to show what he's got. He's been there long enough as Andy Reid has been the head coach of the Chiefs. I think with J.J. Watt coming back, they're playing another level because when that comeback is sparked. And the Chiefs, it's just that Andy Reid's playoff pass, I think, might play into this matter because he has lost some critical games, including 4 straight NFC Championship games when he's with the Eagles. Then he lose the AFC Championship game to the Patriots last year. And
his record is so good with 2 weeks to prepare, though.
Yeah, but when
counting regular season buys and first round buys in the playoffs, he's really good.
I know that, but I'm just saying, sometimes the bye can go against you as well. We all seen that.
I actually think Kansas City kind of lucked out by not drawing Buffalo in this, just simply because. Throw the regular season results aside for a moment. They've already played Houston this year. They've already played the Patriots this year. So as far as game planning and preparation goes, you're not having to make you're making alterations to your regular season game plan to what you're doing in the playoffs, where they didn't play Buffalo in the regular season, so you're starting from scratch. So I think Buffalo would have been the worst. Plus, just Buffalo's an entirely different matchup than the Patriots and the Patriots and the Texans are as well. Everything they do well, Kansas City struggles with. So I think they really dodged a bullet getting Houston in this one.
Well, I understand that, but I see, and the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have to deal with some of their players from the Texans who didn't play. Same thing with the Texans who didn't have to deal with some of that. But I think the Texans will edge the Chiefs in a close one. It's going to be Deshaun Watson leading his team to a field goal. So I say the Texans win 20-17, and they get it done. Last but not least, Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, no disrespect to Green Bay. I really thought the Saints were going to beat Minnesota in the wild card round, which would have sent them to Green Bay. Now, I actually would have liked the Packers against the Saints. You get a dome team outdoors in the cold, so on and so forth. 2 weeks to get ready for them. Really was liking the Packers in that matchup. No disrespect to Green Bay. I'm a fan. I'm a football fan, and what I want to see as a fan, I don't want to see Green Bay go back to San Francisco, who I assume won Saturday, and get beat 41-13 again or whatever that was in the Sunday night game. From a pure entertainment standpoint, we want to be entertained. I want to see Niners Seahawks 3. I want to see the rubber match. I want to see if the road team can go 3-0. I want to see if Seattle can go 2-0 in NFC Championship games against teams named the San Francisco 49ers. I want to see how much of an axe the Niners really have to grind about that loss that sent Seattle to Super Bowl 48. It was the Niners' third conference championship game in a row. They would win the previous year against the Falcons, lose to the Ravens in the Super Bowl. They would lose the previous year in overtime at home to the Giants as well. They kind of fell off the cliff after that game happened, though. That was kind of the beginning of the end of that era of 49er football right there. And I don't know about as far as all the football goes, because the Chiefs and the Ravens are really good. But the NFC side of things, I think throughout the 17-week of the season, I know the final records don't suggest this, but throughout the 17-week of the NFL season there, the two best teams, you can throw the Saints in there as well, but the two best teams for the most part were San Francisco and Seattle. And Fly, you nailed it in the first part of our breakdown segment right here. So, Russell Wilson is just so good. Metcalf is coming on. Marshawn Lynch is actually going to be an active member in the game plan. He's been used situationally the last 2 weeks. 2 touchdowns in 2 games. Diggs is in there. Bobby Wagner, he's just an absolute beast at linebacker. Clowney, I believe, is good to go as well. I just think Seattle's despite playing in Green Bay and having 2 weeks to get ready for it and having Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I just think Seattle's a better team than they are. Better 53-man roster. We've never seen their head coach in a playoff game before. Matt LaFleur, first NFL playoff game. So I think you got to give it, Seattle the edge with Pete Carroll and company on that side of the ball. 24-20 Seattle. Russ finds a way to get it done.
Upset alert. I'm going to join the bandwagon. Seattle gets it done on the road. I think Russell Wilson, keep it short and sweet, will find a way to make a play. So Seattle gets it done. I'm going to say 17-14 on the road. And that will do it for Gameball NFL Endzone social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, YouTube, all on my right side. You can follow that to your left side. My right to your left, right to vice versa. You also get on our clothing line website at gameballshop.ecwid.com. That's gameballshop.ecwid.com. Also, get on our official website page at gck-gnfle.com. That's gck-gnfle.com. You also can't forget our other brother who's in the West Coast will be joining our show back here pretty soon, the podcast, Marcus. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, JovelENT, all in one word. And do not forget the underscore. And I'm going to pass it on my brother Luke.
One last nugget of information on that Seattle Green Bay game. Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers has a 4-3 advantage of them. The home team is 7-0, so Green Bay does have that going for them as well. One more shout out to Clemson and LSU. They play in the national championship game this Monday. May the best Tiger win. Find me on Twitter at Luke Hartnett2 because I'm Luke Hartnett 1. Then find me on Facebook at Luka Hartnett, Luka, because Luka Doncic, that's why, game recognized game. I'm paying a little homage to him on his MVP caliber season with the Mavericks. Don't really have a favorite NBA team. He's my favorite player in the game right now, though. So shout out to Luka Doncic, hence the name change on Facebook there.
I'm Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
This is Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out, and see you next week.